you're going to see the countdown. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the planet. My name is Charlotta Germain, and I want to thank you for coming out to the Shet Show. I'm delighted to welcome you to another insightful episode of the Shet Show, Abundance Conversations. All right. I'm your host, Charlotta Shet Germain, and today we have a special guest who's here to share his journey of abundance and success. He is traveling, so you will hear his voice and not his face. All right. But joining us today is Rogers Howard. Rogers is the visionary behind Red's Home Rehab. Rogers is no stranger to turning dreams into reality. So as the owner of Red's Home Rehab, he's been transforming properties and communities with a touch of innovation and a dash of determination. Rogers, with his expertise in real estate and rehabilitation, has been creating more than just houses. He's been crafting homes that resonate with the essence of abundance. Through his work, he's discovered firsthand how embracing the right mindset can lead to remarkable achievements. During our conversation today, we'll dive deep into Rogers' journey with the rehabilitation business. We'll talk about his partnership within the local churches and the Catholics, parishioners, etc. And we will talk about his strategies for success and how he's harnessed the power of abundance to elevate both his life and his business. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be inspired by Rogers Howard's story on the Shet Show, Abundance Conversation. So welcome, Rogers. It is an honor to have you with us today. How are you, sir?
Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. I like that. Hello, Miss Charlotta. Thank you for allowing me to come onto your platform, share my story.
Oh, yes. Well, absolutely. It's my pleasure. And I do want to tap right in because I understand that that time is also money in some instances. So I want to just start off by just having you to tell us a little bit more about Red's Home Rehabs and your mission to partner with banks and local leaders to revitalize communities through home rehabilitation. What inspired you to start this venture?
Red's Home Rehab was inspired actually by a family member of mine. My wife and I, we were in Atlanta prior to the pandemic starting, and she has a relative who's a licensed realtor. And so we sort of kind of put a plan together as how we were going to come and attack this Michigan area. And when I say attack it, I mean help set it up to do what it was he wanted to do in the vision that I had, which is come in, grab some homes that most people ignore, fix them up, and then sell them to the people that most people ignore. So we started the Red's Home Rehab back in March 10th of 2020. And we just been rocking it ever since. We go in and we get these properties, again, like I said, that most folks don't look at, and we convert them to make them on the inside. It's like a luxury home on the inside. So it makes you want to be home, makes you want to be there. And that's what we have done here thus far. And, that's how Red's Home came about. The mission was to get with the local faith-based community and help them turn around their particular communities because of all the things that have been taking place here in the beautiful city of Flint, Michigan. We wanted to start within that faith-based community, and that's what we did.
I love it. I love it. You recently secured a significant partnership with Dr. Turner from Grace Emmanuel Baptist Church. resulting in over $250,000 in funding. Raj, could you share some details about this particular collaboration and how it will have an impact on the community and inside of the community that you serve?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But first, I want to thank Dr. Turner for taking the time to even have a conversation with me and listen to what it was that we wanted to do. So we started that a little over 2 years ago. We were explaining what our vision was, um, and he was sharing with us what he was doing. I'm sorry, let's back up. How I actually met Dr. Turner um, is a business associate of his, which is actually his cousin, who I have done business with previously. So I was sharing with that gentleman, who's also a local person from Flint, who went on to do some great things. He and I was talking about Flint, and he told me he had somebody that he would introduce me to, and that person was Dr. Turner over at Grace Emmanuel Baptist Church. So we sat down. I shared with him what my vision was. He shared with me what his vision was, and then we were able to collaborate on things that I was able to help him do and implement in the city. And he has the actual, what would I say? It's proof of concept we were able to do. And so we know it works. We have the proof that it works. And we've been doing it now for the last 2 years.
Wow, that's amazing. Congratulations, right? That's not an easy feat. We have some roots in Flint, which we kind of talked about before, which is how we collaborated. Because I'm originally from Flint, Michigan, and I know that there are a lot of not only hardships, but opportunities in the area. So I did want to publicly give you your flowers and let you know that we certainly appreciate the work and the efforts that you're doing. I'm sure Dr. Turner, which actually I'm going to have him on the show. So I'm waiting for a collaboration with him when his time permits to talk about how it's impacted the church and the communities. But congratulations, and I wanted to give you your flowers for that. So Raj, thinking about becoming one of the main storytellers, right? So this is one of the exciting parts where we're going to pivot a little bit and we'll figure out how it all ties in, right? Becoming one of the main storytellers for Father Duquette, one of the first Black bishops in the Catholic Church. This is a unique role for you. How did this opportunity come about, and what stories or messages are you sharing on his behalf, rather, as we approach the 95th church anniversary celebration? So number one, congratulations on that role. I want you to talk a little bit about that. That was a loaded question, right? So let me
Yes.
scale back a little bit. Tell us a little bit how you came to get this role with Father Duquette and Christ the King Church in Flint.
All right. Okay. So I'm not going to try to babble, but the story is very close to my heart. Okay. I'm originally from New Orleans, Louisiana, one of the largest Black Catholic areas to ever exist. So I understand Catholic and I understand Black people, but I never knew they were really Black Catholic people. I knew Black folks went to Catholic school to get the Catholic school education, but I didn't know there were actually people that were Black that was practicing that faith. Um, and it sounds ignorant, I know, but it's just my truth. And when I ran across this man's legacy, um, then I knew I needed to learn more. So, long story short, I met my wife in Washington, D.C. We set up home in Atlanta, Georgia. I would come home with her to visit Flint, Michigan, and we would go to church. And we've been together 15 years now. And all this time going to her church, I never knew that the man, Norman Duquette, was a Black man. I'm just going to this church, being respectful, going in on Sundays, but I never paid attention. So this February 2023, my daughter, who's a dance participant in Cougar Not Dance over with Baba Collins, over there. She was performing at Christ the King. Well, Christ the King is my wife's childhood church. So my daughter's performing at my wife's church. So of course I'm going to be at the event. Now I'm sitting here, I'm reading the program, and in the program I noticed some words and talk about knights and talk about ladies. And I'm like, well, what is this knights and ladies talk? And then I look at the history, Father Duquette, and then I see a picture of a black man, and I'm like, wait a minute. You mean this whole time I've been coming to a black church, just not knowing that it was a black church? Um, so from that day forward, I've just been studying, reading up on the man, finding out who is this man, how did this man come to be, how did he did what he did. Um, in finding that out, I started to talk to people at the church, and the gentleman who was responsible and took care of Father Duquette once he retired was a gentleman by the name of Joseph Rowry. So I had a conversation with Mr. Rowry, and in talking to Mr. Rowry, he'd given me the history of the church. And this November, the church will actually be 95 years old. So we're talking about a black man in 1920s America, being a black man in 1920s America, but then being a black man that wants to be a part of the Roman Catholic Church, which has a history of being racist. So to follow his story, hear his story, and then to be put in a position to help tell his story, I felt like it was an honor. So I sort of stumbled into this great opportunity and this great responsibility.
What an amazing opportunity. That is not something that just falls into the laps of just anyone. So thank you for being a good steward um, over a legacy that is so important. Um, we, we don't we don't associate a lot of the blacks into the Catholic churches oftentimes. So um, as he made history and you are making history, I think that that's really important just to acknowledge that, to sit in that. That's an abundant conversation for sure.
It
um,
is. And here's what I was able to add on to it when I look at what he went through and as a black man in America and what I go through as a black man in America. The struggles are pretty much it's the same struggle. It's a little easier for me because we're not as bad as it was then. We are accepted in certain roles now. So it works, but yet still, as a black man, we still have our challenges here in America. Um, and so that's why I wanted to actually take it on because I saw the similarities as to what it is that he was doing and what it is that I'm doing. By no stretch of the imagination have I helped as many people as this man has helped. So I want to tell people about him. He was the first black Catholic priest in the state of Michigan. He was the fifth in the United States of America. And when he died in 1980, he was the oldest priest living at the time. He started St. Benedict de Moore Church there in Detroit. And had he not had the run in that he had he probably would have did a lot more in Detroit. But we was able to have him come here to Flint, Michigan, and he was not no guy being nice. He went in there, he knew what black people needed, and he went and he fought for us to have those things. And his story needs to be told. And we even had a school named after him. It had a street named after him, but most people still don't know that that was a black man. And I think people should know that.
yeah, definitely needing to know those types of things. I never knew, being from Flint, a Flint native my whole life, I never knew until we shared those conversations. So definitely wanting to bring you back. I'm letting the audience know now, as we gear up for the 95th anniversary of the church, there's some history that is absolutely being made. And so I definitely want to do all that I can here on the Shet Show to make sure that we're valuing and honoring um, such a prestigious moment in history, right? Not just for the city of Flint, but also for the Catholic community and those that are really tapped into our historic history um, and the way that we live that life out loud. So thank you so much for that, Raj. I want to kind of go back a little bit on the rehabilitation, the Reds home rehabs. Home rehabilitation is a multifaceted process. Sometimes it can be a little bit daunting to people who aren't familiar with the process. So, can you take a moment and walk us through a typical journey of a home that Red's Home Rehabs would work on? Talk to us about it from acquisition to renovation and the eventual sale or occupancy. Paint that picture for us. What does that look like with your services?
All right. Here in the great city of Flint, Michigan, we know after the water crisis, we had a lot of people, they fled from the city. And so the city had a lot of abandoned properties. So we was able to get, the city was able to get certain monies from the federal government to come in to knock down certain homes, but other homes that are perfectly in good condition, those homes are still here, but they may have needed a little work done to them for the residents that are here. Because we don't have affordable housing, is what they're saying. And they don't have nobody taking charge and creating affordable housing. So I just saw an opportunity to come in, again, get a piece of property that no one wanted to do anything with, helping people that no one were looking to help. So the day to day is I locate a piece of property, negotiate with the sellers who's looking to let it go. My guys go in, we evaluate how much money it's going to take to get that property up to what we consider past the normal standards. We want a person when they come into the property, even though it's an older looking property on the outside, because we got these cute little, these are the same homes that you see all over the Midwest. You see them in Detroit, you see them in Ohio, you see them all over Michigan. But on the inside, we make them feel plush and luxurious on the inside of the properties. And we're able to do it at an affordable price. And that price, whereas normal people will go in and they'll put the cheapest thing that they can put in, we're not doing that. We want you to feel when you're in your home like you're in home and not some raggedy rundown. So we go in and we completely strip the home down to the studs. We put in new electrical, we put in new plumbing, we put in new HVAC, and all of our homes come with a whole house water filtration system. So then that way you're always feeling comfortable no matter what may happen with the water in the future. We, after the home is complete and done, then we are looking for the local residents to put those in position to actually purchase the properties. If they're not credit worthy to purchase the property now, then we have another program where we will allow them to even rent the property while we're getting their credit together to make them homeowners. The reason for wanting to make them homeowners is because people take more pride when it's something they own. And if you give them something that's new that they can feel prideful about, then they keep the property.
So, when you're talking about the people that would be eligible to purchase these homes or those that would need to enter into a program to rent these homes while they're working on their credit, is there a minimum credit score requirement or income-based requirement that they would need to have in order to reach out to you as a consumer and or a home buyer?
Yes, on the actual credit, we want you to have good credit, of course, that makes it easier. But if you don't, and what we find is most people really don't even understand how credit works. And so we take the time to share with them. But if you can afford rent, you can typically afford a mortgage. Most people usually don't have down payment money, but they can pay rent. So all we want to do is put you in position, whereas if you can rent and you qualify to pay $1,200 in rent at the apartment complex across the street, then you can afford to buy this home. And then we just show you how to do it. I have a lender that I work with. My lending partner is Glory Mortgage. I work with an organization called Paramount Enterprises. And what we do at Paramount Enterprises is we prepare the client to be the homeowner. Some folks have heard of the NACA program. I'm not saying we are NACA, but what we do is we take the time and we educate our client and we show them the benefits of owning a home. We show them what it takes to own a home, and then we help them to purchase a home.
All right. So I'm sorry, I got another question before I lead into my last question. But let's just say you have a person that has a 650 credit score, right? They've got some work to do. What's the process when you have somebody that has qualifying credit? Because I know they have some lenders that'll provide a loan for a credit score as low as, like, I think I saw 580 the other day. So if you have a person that's coming in with typically good credit, right? 650 and above, 680 and above, what would you say the process would be from start to finish? Is it like 2 or 3 months? Is it more like 6 months? Depending on if they were able to find the property, they found the property that they want, right? They're ready they're locked and loaded to move. How long do you think that it would take with your program and your partners to get that person from a renter to a homeowner with that type of credit score?
With that type of credit score, if it's something that we already have in the inventory, then we're closing that loan within 30 days. If it's something that we already have that they like. Okay. Now, if they qualify, because we set them up with the mortgage company, so we know exactly what they qualify for. And then we also have realtor partners that we work with, but we work from on the inside. If it's not already in our inventory, then you let us know what you're looking for, and then we can find something for them. Now, that depends on them, if that makes sense, because it may take 60 days for them to find something they like. But we can get them done as early as 30 days, which is why we like to get them qualified and get approved on the mortgage in the very beginning.
Wow. That's some really good stuff. Yeah. So, well, I love this conversation. I could talk about it for a while, but I do want to be intentional. So I want to talk a little bit about your experiences in community involvement. So, in your experience, Raj, how does community involvement and your partnership with local leaders contribute to the success of your specific projects?
My specific projects, as it relates to this particular campaign, would not have worked if it wasn't for the local involvement, the Dr. Turners. I have a few other people that have other churches, but I have not gotten permission to release their names yet. So once I get permission to do that, when I come back and give you a progress report, then I would share those individuals' names. But I don't want to do that at this moment. But it works perfect because they have folks within their congregations that want to be homeowners and don't necessarily know what to do in order to become a home. So it works as a education center where I'm able to come in and help those folks. And I've been able to help folks within the congregation that already owned real estate, but they needed to get access to funds to rehabilitate their real estate. So then that way the property values can increase, because if everybody's house look good on the street, then our values go up. And so that was also a part of it. I didn't want to come in and you got your nice house on the street, but all of your neighbors' houses are terrible. So that's not doing anything good for your values. So we want to uplift the whole community.
And we didn't talk about this in detail, but I do want to make mention that you're currently in the Genesee County areas, but this is not just secluded to this particular county or state. So, how far does your reach go with Red's Home Rehab currently?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Red Home Rehab, I actually have partnerships where I'm able to lend in all 50 states. I have the ability to help folks find properties in all 50 states because of the relationships and the partnerships that we have. I myself personally do not know anything about the great state of Tennessee, but I do have some partners there. I have some partners in Mississippi. So it's pretty much wherever your clients are and what they have an interest in, we have somebody within our network to be able to help them. And we also work with international investors as well.
Which was a part of my next question. Your primary market is working with investors and or small businesses. Are you working mostly with community single family homeowners? Where do you find the most success for what Red's Home Rehabs is doing?
The most success that we've actually found is because we are investors. So we work with investors, and working with my investor partners, we realize and understand we had these pool of properties that were not being touched. So we're coming in and we're providing opportunities for people in these communities that are usually overlooked to put them in position to be homeowners. So we are doing it from an investor standpoint because we are a network of investors, but we're helping the end guy be the homeowner as we come in and we're getting the product, rehabbing the product, and putting the product in position for these people to use it.
Earlier, you mentioned your relationship with Dr. Turner from Grace Emmanuel Baptist. Are there any other notable um, projects that you've done that you can share with us to help reach our audience on a level, on a financial level? Are there any other notable projects, either past or present or forthcoming, that you want to share with us at this time?
Sure, sure, sure. I also have business partners that I work with. And just like people purchase real estate and they flip real estate, well, these particular group of individuals, they buy and flip businesses. So what they have the ability to do is they create a business, they grow it to profitability, and then they sell the business. The same thing we do with the real estate. So depending on where a person is in their situation, whether they want to be a homeowner, they want to be an investor, they have a situation where they have some money and they want to place it somewhere and have passive income come from your money. Um, I have different partners that I would introduce people to depending on what it is they want to do. So what I like about the SHEP program is what you guys' philosophy are or is the same thing that we do. We just want to come together, work with a group of people that's trying to make some things happen. And I may not have what I need, you may not have what you need, but if we come together, now we both got what we need, and now we can accomplish it. And that's what we do. We just play team.
That's amazing. Congratulations on your work. And as promised, my 6 questions probably led to about 10, but this is my last question for you, unless you provoke another question, which is simply, what advice would you give to those investors or those individuals or organizations who are looking to make a positive impact in their community, especially in the realm of housing and community development? So it's a two-part question. I'd like for you to talk to the potential future homeowner and what the message you would have for them. And then I'd like you to close it out with the message that you would have for the investor.
Okay. For the potential homeowner, um, home ownership is by far one of the guaranteed ways of transferring wealth to your family. Um, they're not making any more land. Um, the real estate game is where most of the millionaires have come from. And I'm not saying you should be a millionaire or you should want to be a millionaire. What I'm simply saying is you should acquire yourself some property 30 years from now. It's going to be worth more than what it is right now. And even if you're not around, then you pass this on to your children. So now your children have sort of a cushion now to make their lives a little easier. They keep the house, keep it going. They leverage the equity that's in that house now, so they can maybe purchase some other pieces of property that could be income producing, or they leverage that property to buy an income producing asset like a business. Um, but that is the surefire way to start generational wealth is homeownership. In the way the country is set up right now, there are a lot of opportunities for an individual to get started. And you were thinking as a homeowner, you may want to think of yourself now as an investor. And that's just a simple mind shift. Instead of buying something that I have to also figure out how to pay for, maybe I should use the $250,000 that I was approved to buy a house. Maybe I should take that $250,000 and go buy me an asset that would actually pay me to own it, as opposed to me going buy something and I have to figure out how to pay for it. So that's what I would tell the homeowner, because putting themselves in that position, they are a new homeowner, but they now are an investor because that home they purchase is generating some income. The investor, I would simply say to them, one of the best places and one of the best returns you'll be able to get is working within the inner city where these rental properties are. You're able to go in, purchase a property, fix, flip the property, put it into a long term situation that's profitable for yourself, but you went in there and you provided a nice home and gave somebody home ownership. That would be what I would make a recommendation to any investors. If they have not looked into this form, look into this form. They can reach out to yourself, Shaletta. You can get them in contact with me, and I will be willing to have those conversations and share with them exactly what it is that we are doing, how we are winning, how we're helping people win, and how we want to help more people win. Because the more people you help, the more people you can help. And then the more people you can help, the more people you can help. And so we
Absolutely.
want to help as many people as we can. And we're willing to share the knowledge that we have because it's more than enough for everybody. We have an abundance lifestyle. This is an abundance conversation. And there's more than enough for everybody. Just come
Yes,
learn how to put
indeed.
your own plan.
Well, this has certainly been a informative show and a show that I'm able to give you your flowers, right? Did you have anything else that you wanted to add before we closed out?
Um, I just want to say thank you um, for taking the time in expressing to me that there would be an audience that would want to know, just what it is that I do on a regular basis, because this is just what I do. I'm not doing it for any of the quote unquote accolades or anything like that. It's something that I enjoy doing. It's something that I see that's beneficial to those whom I help. And of course, it's beneficial to my family. But to be in a position where someone able to recognize it and then want to share my story, I want to thank you for that. Um, when I looked at what you guys are doing, I love it. I love the setup, and I definitely want to be a part of it and be a supporter of not just on this interview, but I would love to be a part of the growth of the Shed Show and Charlotta Jermaine. So you just have to let me know what is it that we need to do over here, Rogers Howard personally, and then what can Red's Home Rehab do to help facilitate that and make that
Well, we certainly appreciate you. Before I close out, I do have an ask for those that are listening. We do hope that you've been enjoying the inspiring conversations and insightful content on the Shet Show, Abundance Conversations. As we continue to bring you stories of empowerment, growth, and abundance, we want to share an exciting opportunity for you to become a part of our journey. So, creating and hosting a podcast requires dedication, time, and resources. While we're committed to keeping our podcast free to all of our guests, to make that accessible for everyone that has an opportunity to share their story, we could use your support to help us continue this meaningful work. So by making a donation today, you'll see that little ticker scrolling across the bottom. You'll be contributing to the production and development of future episodes, allowing us to bring you even more captivating stories and valuable insights. Your support goes a long way in ensuring that we can maintain the quality and vibrancy that you've come to expect from the Shet Show Abundance Conversation. So whether it's a one-time contribution or a recurring donation, every little bit helps us achieve our mission of empowering individuals and fostering a community of abundance seekers. So if you're ready to join us, your generosity will certainly be acknowledged, and you'll play a significant role in the shaping of our podcast. So make sure that you tap onto our socials. I feel like there's a QR code that goes directly to our link. We're also set up on PayPal. You can also go to the website that's on the screen below. And that's the end of my plug. But Rogers Howard, thank you. Before we wrap up today's conversation, I definitely want to extend my heartfelt welcome and gratitude, for you being a part of the Shet Show Abundance Conversations. Your insights and experiences today have truly been enlightening. I also want to acknowledge the remarkable work that you're doing within Red's Home Rehab and the meaningful conversations that you've had with individuals like the people from Christ the King, like people like Dr. Turner from Grace Emmanuel. It's evident that you're not just transforming properties, but you're making a positive impact on communities and lives and building generational wealth. So as we conclude, I'd like to offer a special invitation. We would be honored to have you back on our show to celebrate the 95th anniversary of Christ the King Church in Flint, an event that marks a significant milestone in the community's history. It is absolutely incredible to think that Father Duquette would have been over 130 years old had he still been with us today. But Rogers, your presence and the stories that you have shared and that you will share about the church's journey and your role within that community would be a wonderful tribute to the legacy of Father Duquette and a testament to the power of abundance and the community. So Rogers, thank you once again for being an inspiring guest on our show. And we look forward to having you back to commemorate this special occasion. Thank you so much for all that you do. I salute you, King. And let's move forward. Red's Home Rehab, let us know where they can find you. Where can they find you? You talked about having a conversation with me, but we'll make sure that we can find you as well. All right. So Rogers, thank you so much for your time today. Is there anything else that you want to say before we get up out of here?
No, ma'am. Look, I might have to pay you to do my next intro. I like that.
All
But
right. Well,
no, thank you so very much.
you know I'm down. So thank you all so much. You all be well today. And remember, don't sweat the small stuff in this thing called life. We are going through this thing together. All right. You all be well today and have a great day. I'll see y'all next time. All right. Later.